I invite you to listen closely, for what I am about to reveal has the power to transform not only the way you think, but the very course of your destiny. Within every human heart there lives a battle. On one side stand the forces of positive emotion, those invisible powers that build empires, create fortunes, and inspire men and women to achieve the impossible. On the other side lurk the destructive emotions, those thieves of hope that paralyze initiative and rob us of life's greatest opportunities. Which side wins in your life depends entirely upon which emotions you allow to dominate your mind. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, which emotions are ruling your thoughts today? For the truth is this: positive and negative emotions cannot live together. One must yield to the other, and whichever you feed becomes the master of your destiny. Let us begin with the 7 major positive emotions, for these are the foundation of every great success. The first is desire. Without desire, no man lifts his eyes toward greatness. Desire is the spark that ignites the fire of ambition. It is the starting point of all achievement. Look back at any triumph of history, and you will find desire standing at its root. When you allow yourself to hunger deeply for a goal, you awaken powers within that you did not know existed. The second is faith. Faith is more than belief. It is a state of mind so strong, so unshakable, that the universe itself bends to its command. Faith turns desire into certainty, and certainty into reality. Without faith, desire remains a wish, weak and powerless. With faith, desire becomes an unstoppable force. The third is love. Love is the greatest binding energy in the universe. When love fills the mind, fear cannot remain. Love of purpose, love of family, love of service. This emotion refines character and multiplies strength. Have you ever noticed how a person in love will attempt the impossible, scale the highest mountains, or work tirelessly without thought of rest? Love gives wings to desire. Then comes sex. Yes, sex. An emotion often misunderstood and misused. Properly directed, it is the most powerful of all human energies. It has built civilizations, inspired masterpieces, and given birth not only to new life but to new ideas. When controlled and transmuted, this force becomes creative genius. The fifth is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is contagious. It leaps from one soul to another and electrifies every endeavor. Enthusiasm is faith in action, love in motion, desire aflame. Without enthusiasm, even the most brilliant plans remain lifeless. With it, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Next comes romance. Romance, like love, lifts the spirit and softens the edges of life. It inspires poetry, beauty, and tenderness. When combined with faith and desire, romance keeps the heart young and the vision alive. Finally, there is hope. Hope is the anchor of the spirit. When storms rage and doubts rise, hope whispers, "There is still a way." Entire nations have survived through hope alone. The man who clings to hope cannot be conquered, for hope is the seed from which faith is reborn. Now consider this. Once you master these 7 emotions, you hold within your grasp every other positive force of the human spirit. The key word here is master, and mastery comes not through reading, but through use. You must practice them, breathe them, live them daily until they form the habit of your mind. Why is this so vital? Because the mind cannot serve 2 masters. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the same space at the same time. If fear rules you, faith will flee. If anger consumes you, love will vanish. The law is absolute. One emotion must dominate. Let us now look at the 7 major negative emotions. For to understand your enemy is to guard against his attack. The first is fear. Fear is the destroyer of dreams, the assassin of hope, the jailer of progress. It has kept more men from success than poverty, sickness, or lack of opportunity. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of loss. Each of these chains the mind and binds the hands of action. The second is jealousy. Jealousy blinds the eyes to one's own blessings and poisons the heart against others. It wastes energy that could be spent in growth and achievement. The third is hatred. Hatred corrodes the vessel that contains it. It turns the mind to bitterness and the heart to stone, making constructive thought impossible. Next comes revenge. Revenge consumes more than it punishes. It is a fire that burns the one who lights it more than the intended victim. The fifth is greed. Greed is the endless hunger that devours peace of mind. Unlike desire, which creates, greed only takes. It enslaves rather than liberates. Then comes superstition. Superstition is fear clothed in ignorance. It clouds judgment, shackles initiative, and keeps mankind in the darkness of false beliefs. And lastly, anger. Anger is a short madness, a storm that wrecks the ship of reason. When anger rules, wisdom departs. Each of these 7 negatives is an enemy more dangerous than any foe outside of you, for they attack from within. Allow even one to gain foothold in your conscious mind, and it can destroy the power of your subconscious to work for your good. Think of it this way. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. Plant in it seeds of faith, love, and desire, and it will grow a harvest of opportunity. But plant seeds of fear, anger, and jealousy, and it will grow only weeds. You cannot harvest both. You may ask, how then can I make sure the positive dominates? The answer is habit. Form the habit of using and applying positive emotions daily. Repeat them, practice them, live them, until they become the natural language of your thoughts. Eventually, the positive will dominate so strongly that the negatives will have no room to enter. Reflect on your own life. Have you noticed that when fear enters your mind, it chases away courage, but when faith fills you, fear vanishes? This is no accident, it is law. And by mastering this law, you master yourself. Consider also the matter of prayer. Have you noticed how most men pray only after every other method has failed? They approach prayer not with faith but with fear, not with confidence but with doubt. And because the subconscious acts only upon the dominating emotion, their prayers are delivered not in faith but in fear. And fear cannot move infinite intelligence. If you pray for a thing, but secretly believe you will not receive it, your prayer is empty words. If you pray with doubt in your heart, your doubt is the true message sent. But when you pray with faith, real, burning, unshakable faith, then your thought is transformed into spiritual vibration, carried to infinite intelligence, and returned in the form of ideas, plans, or opportunities. This is not mere theory. Search your memory and recall a time when your prayer was answered. You will remember that in that moment, your state of mind was not one of fear, but of absolute belief. This is the law, as real as the law of gravity. Faith and fear cannot live together. Choose one, and you drive out the other. Understand this truth. Faith and fear cannot dwell together. One must give way to the other, and the choice rests entirely in your hands. When faith rules, you walk in the company of infinite intelligence. When fear rules, you cut yourself off from that limitless source of power. Think for a moment about prayer. Most people turn to prayer only when every other path has failed. They approach not with confidence, but with desperation. Their hearts are not filled with certainty, but with doubt. And because the subconscious mind translates only the dominating emotion, it is fear, not faith, that gets communicated. That is why so many prayers go unanswered. But when a man approaches infinite intelligence with a mind saturated in faith, with a heart burning with desire, then his prayer becomes irresistible. Such a prayer is not a string of memorized words read from a book, nor a ritual repeated without feeling. It is a living vibration, charged with emotion, lifted up by faith, and carried straight into the infinite. Reflect on this carefully. Words alone are powerless. It is the emotion behind the words that transforms them into spiritual vibrations. Just as the human voice must be stepped up into higher frequencies before radio waves can carry it across the ether, so must your thoughts be lifted into spiritual vibration before infinite intelligence can receive them. That transformation happens only through faith. Have you ever wondered why two people may recite the same prayer, yet one finds it answered while the other remains unheard? The answer lies not in the words, but in the mental state from which they are spoken. The one who speaks in fear transmits fear. The one who speaks in faith transmits faith. And infinite intelligence responds always to the dominating vibration. Think about the discoveries of science. Less than a century ago, men trembled at the flash of lightning, believing it to be the wrath of God. Today, that same lightning has been harnessed to power industry, to light entire cities, to extend the reach of human civilization. What made the difference? Faith. Faith that the forces of nature could be understood and mastered. Not long ago, men believed that the vast space between planets was nothing but an empty void. Today, thanks to the persistence of faith, we know that space is alive with vibration, pulsing with energy, a sea of motion connecting every atom, every star, every brain. What reason, then, do we have to doubt that the same energy links the mind of man with infinite intelligence? The truth is, there are no toll gates between the finite mind and the infinite. The communication is free. It costs nothing but patience, persistence, understanding, and above all, a sincere desire to connect. But you must go yourself. No one can go for you. Infinite intelligence does not do business by proxy. Paid prayers, recited prayers, lifeless prayers, they are all worthless. Only the prayer charged with your own faith and desire reaches its destination. Now imagine for a moment that your subconscious mind is the sending station. It receives the thoughts of your conscious mind, steps them up into higher vibration through emotion, and sends them into the infinite. When you pray with faith, your subconscious transmits a clear, powerful signal. When you pray with fear, it sends only static. Which message do you wish to send? This principle is not a matter of speculation. It is a matter of law. Every thought, every emotion is a vibration. And just as radio waves can be tuned, magnified, and transmitted, so can your thoughts. The subconscious is the tuner, the amplifier, the sending station. Infinite intelligence is the receiver. And the feedback comes in the form of plans, opportunities, ideas, flashes of inspiration, often so natural that you may not recognize them as answers to your prayer. But make no mistake, when the prayer is real, when it is saturated with faith, the answer always comes. Think of the greatest inventors and leaders of history. Edison did not stumble upon the electric light by chance. He tapped into infinite intelligence through persistence, desire, and faith. The Wright brothers did not conquer the air through luck. They connected their minds with infinite intelligence until the plan of flight revealed itself. Every discovery, every invention, every achievement begins first in the realm of thought, and thought is directed by emotion. So the question I put to you is this: which emotions are you using to send your thoughts into the infinite? If they are fear, anger, jealousy, or doubt, then your signal is weak, confused, distorted. But if they are desire, faith, love, and enthusiasm, then your signal is clear, strong, and irresistible. Picture yourself standing before two doors. One door is labeled fear. Behind it lies limitation, poverty, frustration, failure. The other door is labeled faith. Behind it lies opportunity, abundance, peace of mind, success. Which door will you walk through? Every thought you entertain, every emotion you indulge, is a step toward one door or the other. There is no middle ground. To hesitate is to choose fear by default. To act with conviction is to choose faith. And here lies the great secret: habit. You cannot expect to choose faith once and for all. You must choose it again and again, until the act of choosing becomes automatic. When you deliberately practice filling your mind with positive emotions, desire, faith, love, enthusiasm, your subconscious accepts them as normal. Then, when challenges arise, your automatic reaction is not fear, but faith. This is why I tell you, practice daily. Fill your mind with the vision of what you desire. Speak it, affirm it, dwell upon it. Associate with those who believe in you, who encourage your faith, who inspire your hope. Guard your mind as you would guard a treasure chest, for indeed, it contains the fortune of your life. If you allow the negative to creep in, even one seed of doubt, it can choke the harvest of years. But if you keep your garden filled with positive emotions, you will reap a crop beyond measure. And what is the harvest? Ideas that change your destiny, opportunities that seem to arrive by chance, strength to endure when others give up, and above all, a partnership with infinite intelligence, the greatest power in existence, working with you, through you, for you. Do not wait for the world to teach you this science. Most schools do not teach it. Most pulpits do not preach it. Most men do not practice it. But the time will come when the science of prayer, the science of faith, will be taught as surely as mathematics or physics. The day will come when no man will approach infinite intelligence in fear, because fear itself will have vanished from human thought. And though that day may seem distant, you can begin it today, in your own life. You can make your mind a temple where only positive emotions dwell. You can transform every prayer into a vibration of faith. You can walk each day in communion with infinite intelligence. And when you do, you will discover a truth that will carry you further than any fortune, any power, any possession. The truth that you and infinite intelligence are one. When you once realize that you and infinite intelligence are one, a new horizon opens before you. Life is no longer a battlefield where you struggle against unseen forces. It becomes a partnership, a collaboration, in which the greatest power in existence works through your thoughts, your hands, your words. This realization transforms fear into courage, doubt into certainty, weakness into strength. But do not mistake this truth for a passive belief. Infinite intelligence does not reward idle dreaming. It responds to faith expressed in action. You must act as though success were already certain. You must speak as though your word carried authority. You must move with the conviction that the unseen power is guiding every step. Faith without action is lifeless. Action without faith is blind. But when the two are joined, nothing can resist them. Think of the mind as a garden. Infinite intelligence supplies the soil, rich and fertile, capable of producing any crop. Your conscious mind is the gardener. Every thought is a seed. The subconscious mind is the earth itself, accepting without question whatever you plant. If you sow fear, you reap poverty. If you sow jealousy, you reap misery. But if you sow desire, faith, and love, you reap abundance, harmony, and joy. The tragedy of most lives is that men plant weeds by habit and then wonder why their harvest is bitter. They let newspapers, gossip, fearmongers, and doubters plant seeds in their minds. They neglect to guard their mental soil, and so it grows wild with thorns. But the wise man chooses his seeds carefully. He meditates upon his desire. He affirms his faith. He nurtures his enthusiasm. Day by day, he cultivates his mental garden, and in time, his harvest astonishes the world. Consider also the law of substitution. The mind cannot hold two opposite emotions at the same time. If fear knocks at the door, introduce faith. If anger rises, introduce love. If doubt creeps in, introduce desire. You cannot expel darkness by fighting it. You expel darkness by turning on the light. So too, you conquer negative emotions not by resisting them, but by replacing them with their positive opposites. You may say, "But I am surrounded by negative people, by doubt, by discouragement." Then I say to you, remember this law. One dominating thought, held persistently, can outweigh 1,000 weaker suggestions. If your faith is strong enough, the doubts of others become powerless. If your desire burns intensely, no criticism can extinguish it. The voices of fear may surround you, but they cannot enter unless you open the door. And what of failure? Is it not proof that infinite intelligence does not respond? On the contrary, failure is often the very means by which infinite intelligence answers your prayer. When you ask for strength, life does not hand it to you in a box. It gives you obstacles to overcome. When you ask for wisdom, life does not whisper secrets into your ear. It presents you with problems to solve. Every failure carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But only the man of faith can find that seed and nurture it into success. Think of history's greatest figures. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost elections, suffered heartbreak, and yet through persistence and faith, became one of the most revered leaders the world has known. Thomas Edison endured thousands of failed experiments before the electric light was born. Henry Ford faced ridicule when he declared that he would build a car affordable to every man. Each of these men partnered with infinite intelligence. Each turned setbacks into stepping stones. Each proved that failure is not defeat, but preparation. So I ask you, how will you respond to your next obstacle? Will you curse it as an enemy or embrace it as a teacher? Will you surrender in fear or rise in faith? The choice, as always, is yours. Now let us return to the matter of prayer, for it is through prayer, rightly understood, that the mind makes its greatest contact with infinite intelligence. True prayer is not begging. True prayer is not bargaining. True prayer is recognition. Recognition that you are a part of infinite intelligence, and that infinite intelligence is part of you. Recognition that what you desire, when it serves growth, harmony, and advancement, is already yours in substance, waiting only for your faith to call it forth. This recognition transforms prayer into a declaration. You do not ask timidly for success. You declare success as your rightful inheritance. You do not plead for strength. You affirm that strength is within you, flowing from the infinite source. You do not fear poverty. You claim abundance, knowing that the universe is rich beyond measure. When you pray in this manner, you awaken a confidence that radiates into your every action. People sense it, though they may not name it. They feel drawn to you, inspired by you, willing to trust and follow you. Opportunities come to you as if by magnetism. Plans form in your mind with a clarity you never knew before. Obstacles shrink before your advancing will. This is the power of prayer infused with faith. Some will tell you this is superstition, but look closely, and you will see it is the most practical science of all. What is business success, if not the ability to conceive an idea, believe in it, and carry it out despite opposition? What is leadership, if not the power to inspire others through the strength of one's own faith? What is invention, if not the contact of the human mind with infinite intelligence? This science is not reserved for saints or sages. It is for every man and woman who will discipline their thoughts, who will master their emotions, who will act with persistence. The universe plays no favorites. Infinite intelligence responds alike to all who obey the law. And here lies the final lesson. You are never alone. Though men may desert you, though wealth may vanish, though health may falter, infinite intelligence remains. It is closer than your breath, nearer than your heartbeat, waiting always to guide, to strengthen, to uplift. When you turn inward in faith, you find it. When you act outward in persistence, you express it. And when your life is finished, you leave not in despair, but in triumph, for you have played your part in the eternal design. So let me leave you with this charge. Guard your thoughts, for they are the seeds of destiny. Choose faith over fear, love over hatred, desire over doubt. Act with persistence, pray with certainty, live with enthusiasm. Know that you and infinite intelligence are one, and that no power on earth can stand against that union. The man who grasps this truth holds the key to every treasure, the cure for every sorrow, the victory over every obstacle. The man who lives this truth becomes not merely a success in the eyes of the world, but a light in the lives of others. And the world today is in desperate need of such lights. Will you be one of them? The decision is yours, and the time is now.